Antigone. Type of work, drama. Author, Sophocles. Born approximately 495 and died 406 before Christ. Type of plot, classical tragedy. Time of plot, ancient Greece. Locale, the city of Thebes. First presented in 440 BC before Christ. Principal characters: Creon, tyrant of Thebes; Antigone, daughter of Oedipus; Ismene, her sister; Haemon, son of Creon; Tiresias, a prophet. Critique. Although the main problem of this play would be unimportant today, the discussions of the responsibilities of a ruler are as pertinent now as in ancient Greece. The characters of the play move to their tragic ends with highly dramatic speeches, while the moral and philosophical problems of the plot are displayed through the chorus and soliloquies. When first presented, the play was so successful with Athenian audiences that Sophocles was made a general in the war against Samos. Recent presentations of the play have been well received by both audience and critic. The story: Polynices and Eteocles, sons of the cursed family of King Oedipus, led two armies against each other before the gates of Thebes, and both brothers were killed in single combat with each other. Creon, their uncle, and now the tyrant ruler of the city, ordered that Eteocles be given full funeral rites, but that Polynices, who had attacked the city, be left unburied and unmourned. Anyone who broke this decree would be punished with death. Antigone and Ismene, the sisters of the Polynices and Eteocles, discussed this order, and with grief for the unburied brother tearing at her heart, Antigone asked Ismene to aid her in giving him burial. When Ismene refused to help in so dangerous a task, Antigone went defiantly to bury Polynices. Shortly afterward, Creon learned from a sentry that a body had been buried. Angrily, he ordered a sentry to find the perpetrator of the deed. The sentry returned to the grave and uncovered the body. During a dust storm, Antigone came to look at the grave and, finding it open, filled the air with lamentation. Her cries attracted the attention of the guard, who captured her and took her to Creon. Questioned by Creon, she said that to bury a man was to obey the laws of the gods, even if it were against the laws of a man. Her reply angered Creon. Antigone must die. Ismene tried to soften Creon's heart toward her sister by reminding him that Antigone was engaged to his son, Haemon, but Creon remained firm. Haemon incurred his father's anger by arguments that Creon should soften his cruel decree because of popular sympathy for Antigone. Creon said that he cared nothing for the ideas of the town, and Haemon called his answer foolish. As a punishment, Creon ordered that Antigone be killed before Haemon's eyes. Haemon fled with threats of revenge. Creon ordered that Antigone be walled up in a cave outside Thebes and left there to die for her crime against his law. When Antigone was led out of the city, the people of Thebes followed her, lamenting her fate. She was thrust into the cave. All this while, Polynices' body lay unburied outside the walls. The prophet Tiresias warned Creon that the gods had not been pleased with his action and that the body should be buried. He foretold that before long Hammon would die if his father did not bury Polynices and rescue Antigone from the cave. Creon, realizing that Tiresias's prophecies had never proved false, hurried to avert the fate the prophet had foretold. Quickly he ordered a tomb prepared for Polynices, and he himself set off to release Antigone. But the will of the gods could not be changed so easily. When he reached the cave, he heard his son's voice within, crying out in grief. Creon entered and saw that Antigone had hanged herself with a rope made from her own dress. Hammon, sword in hand, rushed at his father as if to attack him, but instead he spat on the old man. He then fell on his sword and killed himself in sorrow over Antigone's death. The news of these events quickly traveled back to the city, and Creon's wife, hearing of so many misfortunes, died by her own hand. On returning to Thebes with the body of his son, Creon learned of his wife's death. Seeing that his life could no longer have meaning, he had himself led out of the city into exile. He was himself the final victim of his harsh tyranny.